All right, this is the logo project, and the logo project is, we talked about how important art is, and you can't get up in the morning and go to school without you touching some artist's work. I mean, your toothpaste bottle is designed by an artist. Your clothes, the patterns on your sheets, all sorts of things in your house are designed by artists, or in the manufacturing stage of somebody had to sit down and draw out what the factory was supposed to make. They're all visual symbols. Companies spend lots of dollars to get their brand out so that you recognize their brand and buy their stuff. They have, just immense budgets for advertising. And we don't always communicate with letters. There's an old saying that a picture is worth 1,000 words. And sometimes, they'll put letters together in such a way that they make new words, and those are called acronyms. And there's some examples of acronyms that people see all the time. When we do this project, we're going to concern ourselves with the old saying that a picture is worth 1,000 words. The problem has to be solved that with the assignment is combining the symbol that reflects some personal hobby or interest that you have, because you're the client. You're developing a logo for yourself. And so you're going to make some sketches. A thumbnail sketch is a tiny little sketch of an idea of maybe shapes that you like. Maybe you like surfing. Maybe you like fishing. Maybe you're into knitting, or you like to cook. Whatever your hobby or interest is. If somebody was going to set you up in a business tomorrow, then you would, guaranteed to be successful, and you're going to be involved with something that you love every day that you probably would do for free. Then that's a good business for you. So you think about what kind of symbol reflects that. Would you have a surf shop on the beach, so whenever the surfing was nice, you could go out and surf, and then the rest of the time you could be selling your surf stuff at the store. So you have to think about that. We've already done some work with letters, and we understand these negative marks. And with the Alien letter project and the Alien poster project, we used these aspects of negative letters. Well, now we're going to do the same thing. We're not going to concern ourselves with what the outside of the letter looks like. We're going to concern ourselves with these negative shapes, and we're going to try to fit them in to the symbol. And it works like this. You guys have understanding that when we did the alien letters, all these lines were straightened out and turned into straight lines. With this, we can use the same curves that are on the actual letters themselves. Step 2 is now you think about a symbol that you're going to use. For example, if you were a scuba diver, you would make a list of symbols like a knife, the flag, the fins, the mask. Those are all things that are associated with scuba diving that people will recognize as a picture. Then draw the symbol, outline the silhouettes of that symbol. Like that's a symbol of what the outline of a mask would be, a scuba mask. Then divide the symbol into the number of spaces you need for the letters. This is divided in 3 spaces for letter 1, letter 2, letter 3. This example over here is where the letters fit in. It's just like doing this activity up here, except for the outside of these rectangles for here are changed to be the shape of these shapes that you have in here. And sometimes the shapes fit better than other times. So that's a thing that you have to work through, and we'll talk about how to come up with the different designs. On the last part is once you have your thumbnail sketches done, you're going to after you have your 10 sketches done, you're going to take your 2 best ideas and make a rough draft. A rough draft will be as big as the paper. See, this would represent the size of the paper, and your idea would be drawn out as big as the paper is drawn. It can be. Once you have your 2 rough drafts, and you'll show them to me, you'll show me your 10 thumbnail sketches, and you'll show me your 2 rough drafts, and from that we'll pick your best one. I might say, oh, those are both great. Here, pick your favorite, or I'll say this one is the best out of these designs. Or if you did a little bit of changing your letter shapes around, maybe rotated around, it might be better. So those are all things that we can figure out when we look at your thumbnail sketches on your way to your rough draft. Your rough draft should be you seeing what your thumbnail sketch looks like when it could be full size. You don't spend a lot of time making the rough draft perfect. It's just to give you an idea of what it's going to look like as a finished product. When you pick one of the rough drafts to do as a final, you did a great job on your rough draft. If you do a great job, you can just trace it by overlapping a different piece of paper and reposition it on the next piece of paper. The color design with the colored pencils, you want to use contrast to make the letters stand out in the symbol. For example, in this particular, the fish is dark blue and the inside areas are light blue. So it's a blue fish on a whatever color background would be, but the light blue is in between where the dark blue areas, all the letters are dark blue, all the things that aren't letters are light blue, like the inside spaces are light blue, the extra fins are light blue, and these could be dark blue also, these parts that are the other fins that are part of the fish. So it's up to you how you decide to do it. All right, and this is the most important part down here at the bottom. If you finish early, remember we always do artwork in class and are caught up with the artwork in this class. You can finish some ideas. Maybe you could do a design for your mom or your dad, maybe some business that they have or a side business that they have. So you can always do one for your friend. It's a very creative, interesting idea. There are people that do this with people's whole names, and there'll be some videos on YouTube where you can see where they do all sorts of creative stuff using these same techniques. So back to the beginning of this. We have these three stages right here of drawing a sketch, working out thumbnail sketches, and the thumbnail sketches are as simple as this. Once you draw the shape, let's use a surfboard for example. You can rotate these shapes around. Like here's a silhouette drawing of a surfboard, and there's step one. Step two would be divided into the number of spaces that you need. So there I'm dividing it up. And I'll use the same letters. I'm going to use this shape right here, which tells us it's a C. I'm going to try to follow the contours of the letter and what the inside of the letter C would look like. And I'm going to use a W. And you can see by doing this, I'm not changing the outside shape of the letter, and when I erase everything that's not the letter, it still holds on its shape of a surfboard on the outside. And our last letter is D. And I'm going, well, that doesn't look that great. This kind of throws off, makes it look like something else. So let's try drawing the surfboard going this way. And let's divide it up this way. And you can see it doesn't take a long time to come up with rotating around. So that's the thumbnail sketch number one. This would be number two. We're going to do the C again inside here. We're going to do the W again. And we're going to do the D. Well, drawing it this way, this part of the opening of the D and this shape of the surfboard looks better than this one. So that might be, a way that I might do it. If we did the surfboard going around the other direction and divided it up, I keep changing the directions, maybe this would be a good way to do the C if the C was the last letter, because it fits in with this V shape. So you want to rotate your thing around and go, okay, I've rotated this surfboard around as much as I possibly can. Well, what about drawing the surfboard and dividing it in half this way, and just using two letters, using the C like this and the D like this. That's another example of how you could, another thumbnail sketch. This could be number 3. This is thumbnail sketch number 4. You can see it doesn't take a long time to do this, but it's important to try all these different things to see if you can come up with the very best design. So what's the best design? Remember we talked about balance. So we want it to carry on as much of the outward shape of the symbol. This is a surfboard shape here on the outside. We want it to keep as much of that as possible. See, when we erase, that little part gets erased, that little part gets erased. So would you say that missing part and that missing part would only be about 5%, and the rest of this line, that's the outside line of the surfboard, is maybe 100%, and you've only lost maybe 5 or 10%, so 90% is still the shape of the surfboard. That's a good balance. You haven't lost a lot of the surfboard shape in it. It's like people, when they see it, they're going to see the shape first, and then secondly, they'll see the letters. So that's the important part about that. Once you have and you can bounce off to something else. Maybe you don't. Maybe you've exhausted all the ideas that you could do with a surfboard, and maybe you're going to stick with surfing, and you're going to draw the baggy shorts that the surfers wear, and maybe you're going to divide it in half this way and put a letter on this leg of the surf shorts and that leg of the surf shorts, and everybody will recognize that as a pair of surfer shorts. So you can try different shapes. These letters all have to be your initials. You're building this company and this logo for yourself, so it should be your letters. Now again, if you have a short name, you can do just, Jill or Bill or Tom or Pam, Pam. If your name is short letters, you can put your letters in here instead of your initials.